Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Remember to like and subscribe for 100 more videos. Maybe. In celebration of hitting 100 videos, I figured it was time to do something special. Because of how videos work, you knew this was a Superman video, but hopefully that came as a surprise to some of you. Since the beginning of my channel, anytime someone's mentioned the big boy in blue, I've met it with a defeatist reply saying it can't be done. But you know what? Forget that. Let's go big. Let's dream big. If I can make a living off of YouTube videos riddled with typos and inaccuracies, there's nothing I can't do. Believe in your dreams.
I'm super! Thanks for asking. All things considered, I couldn't be better, I must say.
Let's start off with our goals for this build. First, we need to be faster than a speeding bullet. Next, we need to be more powerful than a locomotive. Finally, we'll get the ability to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Also, laser eyes, frost breath, damage resistance, flight, and super senses. This is going to be hard. For stats, we're using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want. Obviously, this is a good build to get higher stats with, but watch out for multi-classing minimums. Dexterity will be number 1. Despite your massive physique, you can still move incredibly quickly. Strength after that, it's not ideal for a strong build, but I'd be negligent in my duties if the Man of Steel couldn't bend steel. Wisdom next. Super senses translates to super perception. Follow that up with charisma. Your smile is incredibly powerful, especially if your top lip is intact. Constitution is way too low. I know that. You don't have to tell me, but we've got to sacrifice something. And we'll dump intelligence, which I also don't feel like should be this low. A lot of people call Superman a dummy, but he's actually a pretty smart guy. He's just surrounded by a bunch of geniuses. Again though, we have to dump something, and none of his powers are tied to his book smarts. What would a Kryptonian be in Dungeons & Dragons? Well, they're super handsome, they come from the sky, can innately fly, and they love the sun. So Protector Azamar sounds good to me. You get +2 charisma and +1 wisdom, 60 feet of dark vision, the light cantrip for some light for the not so super friends, celestial resistances to resist necrotic and radiant damage, and healing hands to restore HP equal to your total level as an action once per long rest to one creature you touch. Probably a pat on the back to get an ally back in the fight, but you can touch yourself to be more resilient. Wait, no, not like that. For your background, build your own for perception and persuasion. You can't get them from your starting class. Call the background Ace Reporter. Those skills would help you notice details and get the big scoop. Also for tool proficiency, I'm thinking Clark has calligraphy. We're going to do something a little bit different here and first talk about strategies I didn't take for this build, but did consider. First, Barbarian. I was tempted to go for the bear totem to get resistances to everything but psychic damage while raging. I decided against it, as then you'd have to not cast any spells, and the rest of your powers besides your invincibility are coming from magic. Next, Paladin. I think Paladin is really in spirit for Superman. Heavy person who really cares about protecting people, yeah, that's Clark Kent. However, his abilities aren't very Paladin. He doesn't use weapons, and his radiant damage gets shot out of his eyes, not attached to his weapon, because again, he doesn't really use them. Finally, Mystic is a class I'm interested in, but I've gotten heat for using it in the past, which is weird because I haven't used it in the past. That's how controversial it is, and Superman isn't trying to be a controversial figure, so I'll keep him safe from that anger and continue to skip that class. Not sure if this section is something y'all like. I'm trying something new out here. Let me know if you like it in the comments. Kick things off as a monk. Grab athletics and insight skills. You can throw cars, but also have the empathy to feel bad for the girl whose car you just yeeted at Zod. Hopefully she had insurance. Unarmored defense will get you a little bulletproof, giving you AC equal to 10 plus your dexterity and wisdom modifier when you're not wearing armor. That spandex onesie you've got is pretty skin tight. You can also use martial arts. You use a D4 for unarmed attacks and use strength or dexterity. They're dead even at the moment, but the real benefit is a second attack as a bonus action after you've taken the attack action. We'll get more punches later, but at the moment we're still in Smallville, slowly figuring out that this change in our body is maybe a little more intense than puberty. Second level monks get key points. This is the yellow sun's energy pumping good guy juice into you. You can spend these to do things like Step of the Wind, which lets you dash or disengage as a bonus action and doubles your jump distance for the round, so 28 feet horizontal and 10 feet vertical. Not quite as tall as a building, but it should help clear an outhouse on the family farm. Patient defense lets you dodge as a bonus action, giving your enemies disadvantage to hit you and giving you advantage on dexterity saves, as the world moves slower for you, and not just because you grew up in the Midwest. I can make that joke. I grew up in South Dakota. Flurry of Blows lets you make 2 unarmed attacks instead of 1 as a bonus action. Really get those fists flying. Sometimes the fastest way to save the day is to ruin someone else's. You've also got unarmored movement, making you faster when you're not wearing armor. If you want to race the Flash, you gotta be fast. Third level monk is graduation day for you. Time to move to the city and start properly supermanning. First, as a Protector Azamar, you get Radiant Soul. This gives you 30 feet of flying speed for a minute. That still gets buffed by your unarmored movement. You can also add radiant damage equal to your level, 1 attack per round. This is only once per long rest, so use it when you can. Now you could add this to a punch, but considering you're a solar battery with abs, why not become a Sun Soul Monk and throw some Radiant Sun Bolts? These let you make unarmed attacks with a 30-foot range, but instead of a fist, it's a laser, dealing radiant damage equal to your monk die and dexterity modifier. Maybe those lasers shoot out of your face. Finally, you get deflect missiles, letting you reduce damage from ranged attacks by 1d10 plus your dexterity modifier and monk level. If you drop it to 0, you can bounce the bullets back at your enemies as a monk weapon attack. So flight, bullet resistance, and heat vision all from one level, you're ready for the big leagues, kid, the Justice Big Leagues. 4th level monks get slow fall, letting you reduce falling damage by 5 times your monk level as a reaction. You're going to be getting high, you need to do it safely. You also get an ability score improvement or a feat. The observant feat dials your super senses up to superhuman levels, giving you +1 intelligence or wisdom. Go for wisdom. Add 5 to your passive perception and investigation, and you can read lips. Superman can hear trouble from a mile away. This will help you spy on Lois. I mean, Lex Luthor. It'd be really creepy if you used your superpowers to spy on your crush, who is also a coworker. That's so inappropriate. 5th level monks get extra attack, letting you make 2 attacks as your action instead of 1, not counting your bonus action martial arts or a flurry of blows, so if you want to, you can make 4 attacks per round. That's super. You can also make a stunning strike, which lets you force a constitution save on creatures you hit with an attack equal to 8 plus your proficiency bonus and wisdom modifier. If they fail, they're stunned until the end of your next turn, meaning you have advantage on all your follow-up attacks, making them more accurate and more likely to crit. Your monk die also increases to a d6 for bigger hits, better lasers, and more damaging deflections. Bouncing over to Sorcerer now, and we need to get ourselves some more superpowers. We'll go for Draconic Bloodline. This gives you Draconic Ancestry, letting you pick a type of dragons the L family descended from. Gold dragons are benevolent and they like fire, which will be important later. You have advantage on charisma checks to talk to dragons, which, I guess, sure. We're mostly doing this for Draconic Resilience, which gives you an extra 1 HP every time you level up in Sorcerer. Oh, we're also here for spells. Ray of Frost is a ranged spell attack, dealing 2d8 cold damage at this level that slows the target by 10 feet per round if it hits, for a little frost breath. Thunderclap forces a constitution save of 8 plus your proficiency bonus and charisma modifier on creatures within 5 feet of you, dealing 2d6 thunder damage to those that fail. Clap your hands and make a big boom. Mending repairs a small crack in something, seal it up with your heat vision, and Firebolt is a ranged spell attack dealing 2d10 fire damage that also sets flammable things on fire if they're not being worn or carried, if you want your heat vision to be hot instead of lasery. For 1st level spells, Jump triples your jump distance for a minute. With Step of the Wind, that's 30 feet vertical and 78 feet horizontal. Obviously flight is still better, but after that minute is up, you might still want to get vertical. Shield lets you add 5 to your AC as a reaction. The Man of Steel is hard to hit, and your base AC just isn't going to do it. 2nd level sorcerers get a Font of Magic with some sorcery points, letting you recover spell slots for now so you can jump and shield more regularly. You can also use Feather Fall, which reduces falling damage for up to 5 friendly creatures as a reaction. Clark's friends have a nasty habit of falling off of skyscrapers. You should really install a safety rail there. 3rd level sorcerers get Meta Magic, letting you apply cool extra super stuff to your spells with a sorcery point. Quicken Spell lets you spend a sorcery point to cast a spell as a bonus action instead of an action, freeing your action up for punching, frost breathing, or laser eyeing. Extended Spell makes a spell last twice as long, which effectively saves you a spell slot if it's something you plan on having up for a long period of time. The spell list is almost all buffs, so keep the buff stuff on longer. For this level's spell, Gust of Wind creates a 60-foot line of wind, forcing a strength save on creatures and pushing them back 15 feet if they fail. It halves the movement of creatures moving against it and gets rid of fires and gases in the area. No damage here, but putting out fires and clearing poison with your super breath, that's very heroic. 4th level sorcerers get an ability score improvement or a feat. Round up your dexterity and wisdom for better AC, stunning strikes, and sunbolts. For your spell, Enhance ability lets you give a creature advantage to ability checks of a certain type. If you choose strength, it also doubles their carrying capacity, which will help you carry Superman level loads. Dexterity lets them fall 20 feet without taking damage, and Constitution will give them 2d6 temporary HP. The most in-character option is to pick up a bus, but you do you. 5th level sorcerers can learn 3rd level spells, and haste will make you faster than a speeding bullet, doubling your movement speed, adding 2 to your AC, giving you advantage on dexterity saves, and another action that you can use for 1 attack roll. Pair this with your Radiant Soul to fly with haste, which is generally something you can't do, as the spells Fly and Haste both require concentration. Keep in mind when this spell ends, you can't take actions or reactions for 1 round, so maybe extend this one. 6th level Draconic Bloodline sorcerers get Elemental Affinity, letting you add your charisma modifier modifier to damage you deal with fire spells, so Firebolt for you. You can also spend a sorcery point at the same time to give yourself resistance to fire damage for an hour. For this level spell, Fly gives a creature you touch a flying speed of 60 feet per round for 10 minutes depending on your concentration. Keep in mind this speed still gets buffed by your unarmored movement if you need to fly after your Radiant Soul boost ends. 7th level sorcerers can learn 4th level spells. Stone Skin gives a creature you touch resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage for up to an hour depending on your concentration. Man of Steel. More like Man of Stone. Skin. 8th level sorcerers get an ability score improvement. You have a lot of concentration spells and very low concentration saves, so invest in your constitution for more HP and better focus. For this level's spell, we need to go to work, not as the savior of mankind, but as a reporter at the Daily Bugle, and a guy who needs to pay the rent. Disguise Self lets you change your appearance for an hour. Creatures can see through this with an investigation check against your spell DC, which isn't very good, but neither is your disguise. You just put on glasses. Back over to Monk. 6th level monks get key-empowered strikes, making your fists magical to overcoming physical resistances, so even Doomsday will feel the might of Krypton across his jaw. You also get Searing Arc Strike, which lets you spend 2 key points to cast Burning Hands, making a 15-foot cone in front of you that deals 3d6 fire damage to creatures that fail a dexterity save against your monk DC. Thanks to your Draconic Heritage, it also deals extra damage based off your Charisma modifier. Using book scores, that's 2, so yay. Personally, I think it's a bit underpowered. I'd save key points for other things, even if AoE Face Laser does sound dope. 7th level monks get Evasion, meaning you take half damage on failed dex saves and no damage on successful ones. This is really great paired with Haste, as you have advantage on dex saves, so fireballs shouldn't be an issue. You also get Stillness of Mind, letting you remove an effect of charm or frightening with an action. Your deep breaths are like a million human breaths, so naturally they're more soothing as well. 8th level monks get another ability score improvement. More constitution is important to not die, and to keep your concentration on your buffs. Keep in mind, bumping your constitution raises your HP retroactively as well, so you're not getting plus 1 HP here, you're getting plus 16. 9th level monks get unarmored movement improvement, letting you move up walls and over water as long as you end your movement somewhere solid. Again, you can fly, but this could help you hold on to that Radiant Soul or that 3rd level spell slot for a little bit longer. 10th level monks get Purity of Body, making you immune to poison and disease. With Draconic Ancestry, Stone Skin, and Celestial Resistance, that makes you resistant to 7 types of damage, which will help you get that whole invulnerability thing going. Funnily enough, I'd consider Kryptonite either poison or necrotic. I guess it's like thunder or something. Your monk die also bumps up to a d8 here for some better damage. 11th level Sun Soul monks get Searing Sunburst, letting you hit enemies in a 20-foot radius with 2d6 radiant damage if they fail a constitution saving throw, half if they succeed. You can bump that damage up by 2d6 by spending key points. It says it's a big sphere, but I say it's just a chaotic blast of heat vision. Our capstone is the 12th level of monk for an ability score improvement, and you could put this in a bunch of places. Strength would be fitting, but it's not as useful for the build. Dexterity would fit and help a lot of your monk options. Constitution would give you more health and concentration, and wisdom will give you sharper senses. My resistance to doing this build is evident here. Ideally, all 4 of those stats should be 20 or higher, but you've got to pick and choose what kind of super person you want to be. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how viable this build is. First, you've got the movement speed to get to the day that needs saving. Between Haste, Unarmored Movement, Radiant Soul, and Step of the Wind, you can fly 400 feet if you dash with all of your actions. You're also great at resisting damage with Stone Skin, Celestial Resistance, Purity of Body, and Draconic Heritage, helping you cut down on your incoming damage. Finally, you've got great damage variety. Bludgeoning, Radiant, Cold, and Fire, all at will, should make sure that you're not getting resisted. For weaknesses, while covering the hero with the most powers ever, we got a little unfocused, believe it or not. All the best challenges for Superman hinge on him not being able to do everything at the same time, and this build exemplifies that well. You also got a lot of powers tied to concentration. Enhance ability, Fly, Gust, Haste, and Stone Skin all require your full attention. Finally, you need resistances to damage because you've got a little over 100 HP and your AC is 16 before shield, meaning that someone with the right kind of damage can take you out pretty fast. But you're not the only member of the Justice League. You're the all-arounder with the incredible speed who can move in and out to fill the gaps where you're needed. Use your massive suite of powers to fight for truth, justice, and the American way. Just watch out if a lich has any damage you don't resist, or you'll be the one in the crypt tonight. Crypt tonight means fighting a lich. And crypt tonight. Thanks for watching and supporting my channel and all of its terrible puns for 100 episodes. Subscribe for 100 more. I love you all so much, and we'll be back tomorrow with a monster that can fit in your pocket.